Ahoy, sailors!
Ahoy. Welcome to our first video pod / review / vlog / everything under the YouTube umbrella. That's us. My name is Manny.
And I'm Sean.
And he's Sean. And together we form the Moss Podcast. Branding.
So this is something that we had talked about doing after our first voyage with Virgin. We have now taken 2. So we got more footage on the second time around, so we wanted to incorporate that and give you our thoughts and opinions on Virgin Voyages, having been on them twice now.
And they were 2 very different voyages, not just the destinations, but the first one wasn't full. The second one was full. So we can kind of share the experiences. I know there's people that have experienced not a full ship
and a full
ship, or the first time was a full ship, and they were like, "What the hell were you talking about?"
Right.
So we can kind of give the differences of what it was like to be on 2 different ones.
Yeah. So we plan on breaking this down into series. So this first one will be about ship things. And by ship things, we mean embarkation, places around the ship, service, the cabins. We'll go into all of that stuff in this video.
Correct.
And then we will have future videos that cover the restaurants and entertainment, because there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot about Virgin.
There's a lot of misconceptions about Virgin.
That's a good one. Yes, a lot of misconceptions.
There's a lot of
misconceptions about Virgin.
We'll get there. But a lot of people hear that Virgin is an adult-only cruise line, and they think right off the bat that it is either a swingers cruise or it's going to be very sexual. Like, I see videos on YouTube all the time, and we watched a bunch of YouTube videos before we went because we were curious as well and we didn't know what to expect. But we decided to try them for ourselves, because you can go by other people's words, but you can't. Everyone has a different experience.
Yeah.
So you should really try things for yourself to see if it's for you.
Right. The only thing I would say, if you are considering Virgin and you landed on our video as your first Virgin Voyages research, is that Virgin Voyages is a cruise line, but is kind of turning it upside down a little bit.
Not the cruise norms.
Not the cruise norms.
Yeah.
It is not your cruise norms. We said this on a podcast episode we did a while back after our first cruise. I think it was episode 21. I hope.
Don't throw yourself like that.
Search it. It's called Spilling the Tea on Virgin.
Yes.
On all streaming platforms and YouTube. But one thing we always said was, do not go into Virgin Voyages with your cruise established norms, because there are some things that are uniquely cruising.
Yeah.
But there are also things that are not uniquely to, like Carnival, Royal, Norwegian, all the cruise lines out there. So Virgin does take things a little bit differently. And I will always say this disclaimer: if you are homophobic, if you are closed-minded, if you have any kind, I forgot what word I used on the podcast, leave that shit at home. Don't bring it on Virgin, or go book yourself a Royal Caribbean or a Carnival cruise. Virgin is about inclusivity, 100%.
And that's for everyone.
Yeah. Straight, gay, bi, non-binary, trans. You are welcome on a Virgin voyage, and you can feel comfortable.
To be yourself.
Right. So I always want to say that when I talk about Virgin, because, you may not agree with inclusivity in your life.
And that's fine. That's your choice.
But don't bring that shit on Virgin. Can I cuss on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. Don't bring that shit on Virgin, because you're going to ruin the experience for everybody else. And I'm going to tell you that 99.9% of the people on there are all okay with inclusivity all the way around.
All right. And with that disclaimer, we will get into ship things. All right, so let's dive right into ship things. We're going to talk about, first of all, embarkation, which is the start of every cruise.
Yes.
Virgin has a port in Miami that is all the way to the end, so it is the last terminal. They have their own parking garage. It is very spacious. I forget how much it is a day, but you shouldn't have a problem finding a parking space.
I think it was like 20, 17. It's a little high, but
Yeah.
there's something to be said about parking at the port. You literally grab your bags
And walk.
and you walk.
Yeah.
If you're parking off site, you have to wait for shuttles. And on debarkation day, which we'll talk about later, that could be a clusterfuck.
So we'll talk about we'll try to break it down between January and March, because January was less of a full cruise and March was a full cruise. So in January,
there's just one thing. If you're new to cruising, never explored cruising before, embarkation is kind of like going to the airport, getting checked in, dropping your bags off. That's what embarkation is. Some people ask, what is embarkation? So embarkation is literally checking in, getting on board the ship.
Yeah. So in January, we grabbed our bags. We found a parking space on the first floor, luckily. We just walked across the street because the terminal is right there. As soon as you go up the ramp, there are porters waiting to take your bags. And porters are the people that collect all the bags, make sure that they get to your room. It is a good idea to tip them. You don't have to, but we always do.
Yeah.
They will ask for your room, your cabin number.
Yeah, have your cabin number ready.
Yes, have your cabin number ready. And they will tag it and bag it.
Yeah, and I think that's a difference, at least when we've cruised Royal and Carnival. You print out your bag tags at home. You're responsible for tagging your stuff. And then when you get to the port, it's tagged and they take it. At least for right now in our last voyages, Virgin does all of that on site.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about taking bag tags with you, printing out paperwork. Literally, you just show up.
Yeah,
but have your cabin number in mind. I did not know my cabin number when we showed up the first time.
And an important thing, I guess we should mention, but we will talk about it more later in the video, is to download the Virgin Voyages app beforehand.
That is your lifeline.
Yes, it is your lifeline. It's what you will use the most when you are on the ship. You can use it beforehand to book your dining reservations, your entertainment, and we will talk about the app. But I just wanted to throw it out there because you can also get your room number from the app.
Your room number, and you actually do your pre-embarkation stuff, paperwork, in the app.
So once you are all bagged and tagged, you can head on over to check-in, and they do it in staggered allotments or time. So you also get to choose your time when you check in on the app. We had like 2:30 the first time,
2:15,
2:15, and then to like 2:45 the second time.
It's important to note here too, if you're a cruiser, Virgin tends to be more on the side of keeping to their times.
Yes. Unlike Carnival.
Unlike Carnival, it just feels like a free-for-all.
Yeah.
So don't book 4:30 and show up at 2 o'clock. Show up at the time you think you will get there based on your plans to get to the port.
Yes. And another thing about Virgin, and this is for embarkation and debarkation, is that they leave later than other cruise ships typically leave. So you embark a little bit later as well, which is a plus, and we will get to why.
That. Lots of pluses. We're not trying to drag you along. We just have an order.
Right. So yeah, like Manny said, if you get there after your check-in time, which I think we kind of did, or we got there close enough to it, you can go right on into the terminal. Now, the difference between January and March. In January, it was pretty much we walked right into the check-in line, didn't have to wait very long at all.
It felt like COVID times. Walking through an airport where nobody was there.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
And then in March, we got
busy.
there and it was busy. So there was a line for people who got there before their check-in time. And then if you were past your check-in time or was your check-in time, you could just walk into the lounge area.
And the second time we were 2:45. We did show up 10 minutes early, but there was no 2:45 like signage. So I did ask the lady. She's like, "Oh yeah, we've already called 2:45." So they don't wait. If the majority of people are there, they do seem to move the lines along.
They move pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So once you get through that process, you will go up the escalators, which will take you to the check-in. There's 2 separate check-ins, like there is for most cruise lines. If you have some sort of loyalty with a cruise line, you usually have a VIP check-in, or I mean,
For the Rockstar suites, they do. I don't know if they're doing that right now for loyalty.
they are.
Oh,
Because another
I missed it.
another vlogger that we watched, Francesco, he had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We went through the regular line.
we went through the regular line.
The second time we were, well, both times we've been considered past guests or whatever.
Yes.
Sailors.
So we went over, checked in. Check-in was very smooth. They're very nice. They're very friendly. It doesn't take very long at all.
And that's why it's important to do your pre-embarkation stuff on the app, because they also separate you. If you have everything, they consider you ready to sail, you go to the left. If you don't have everything done, you go to the right.
Yes.
And you have to do your paperwork there.
Yeah. And once you check in, you will be given one of these.
Beautiful little bags. Mine says, "Seize the day."
Mine says "Ahoy Sailor." So they have fun little sayings on them. And this is what you will use throughout your cruise. On most cruise lines, on Royal and Carnival, you get a card.
Ship card.
A ship card, which will be used to get into your room, to pay for drinks. When you get off the ship at different ports, that's how you check in and check out. But this is how they do it on Virgin. It is very comfortable. It's very light, and it is so easy to use.
Yeah. For people who are cruisers and like, I don't know how I feel about having something on my arm all the time. I was kind of that person. But truthfully, I didn't even notice it most times. And the convenience of it was just great. Like, and we can go further in. We're probably going into that later. But it's just completely convenient. I didn't sense any uncomfortableness like I thought I would.
It's very comfortable.
So, and it's also waterproof. So if you're going to the pool or whatever.
And the great thing about this, you go to a bar, you want to get a drink. You order the drink, they simply tap their phone on this, and you keep it moving. There's no signing of anything. Everything will show up in your app. You can see how much you've spent, where you spend it. It is so convenient. You will also use this to get into your room. It unlocks the door for you. And you use it when you get off the ship.
Yeah. And one thing about the not having to sign things is Virgin doesn't charge or doesn't do tipping. Yes. So everything's included in your fare. So you don't get that receipt to have to add an extra tip or whatnot. So everything's included. It's just very seamless.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you go, it's just tap, tap, tap.
Tap, tap, tap.
Tap me.
Well, since you brought that up, I guess we can talk about that. Everything is included in your fare. Wi-Fi is included. The specialty restaurants are all included. Sipping is already included. And there's no kids. We said this is an adult-only cruise, but that is also a bonus of Virgin. There's no children.
And if you've cruised with other cruise lines, and I can't speak for all of them, or you're new to cruising, usually you have to pay an additional tip for room service, not room service, but your room stewards, the waiters and everything. So it's an automatic charge. Right. And it's per day usually, and then you usually have to pay for Wi-Fi. So basic Wi-Fi and all tips are already included in your fare. And when we say specialty restaurants, most cruise lines will charge you for those. Virgin, that's just the way it is. The specialty restaurants are for you. That is your dining room, essentially.
Pretty much.
Versus normal cruise lines where they have a main dining room and such. And we'll go into that in another video. But just want to clarify that because I know that comes up quite a bit as a question.
It does. So we'll get back on track. Sorry, guys. So after you do your check-in and you get your, I forget what they call these, but we'll just call them wristbands for now. Once you get this, you are ushered to get onto the ship. You will go through security, just like you would at any cruise terminal or any airport. You basically just run your bags through a scanner, you go through a metal detector. It's pretty simple. Once you've done that, you go up the stairs, you will use your wristband, they will scan it for the first time, and you are on the gangway.
Yes. Gangway is like the jet bridge that connects the airport to plane.
Yes.
Gangway bridge that connects port terminal to the ship.
Yes.
And I gotta say, Virgin has a beautiful brand new terminal that we've never gotten to really experience because every time we get there,
We just get onto the ship.
Even in March when we waited a little longer, there was no waiting in the terminal area.
No, they're just like, you can get on.
You're ready to board. So.
They do have a beautiful lounge. I will show you some of that. But we didn't really have time to sit in it.
There's beautiful loungers, there's chargers, there's bathrooms, there's even an outdoor like beach area. But we've never gotten to use it because I'm not going to sit there if I can get on the ship, right?
Right. So the one thing that I love about Virgin is they're a little extra. And I'm here for it. So most of the time when you get on a cruise ship, you're walking in. Carnival, for example, there's usually like maybe a DJ there when you're getting on. Royal, I can't remember if there was anything. I don't think there was.
No, we walked into like the lobby.
Yeah. So on Virgin, they have what's called the Happenings cast, and we will get into them later. But you're greeted by crew, and they are excited to have you on, and you feel that energy, and they will say funny things, or, you know, if you're recording them, they'll do something funny or do a dance with you, but it's all in good fun, and you feel that energy as soon as you get on board.
They're setting the tone for the voyage.
Yes.
You can't call it a cruise. The voyage. They're setting the tone for the voyage, essentially, and it may be a minimal thing, but it is a cool thing to me because I'm like, okay, whether they're genuine or not, you feel like they're happy to have you on board. And I can't say that for many of our other cruises that we've done. They're like, okay, here comes another herd of people.
Yeah. It's a nice touch.
Yeah. Like they'll have a bullhorn with sound.
Yes, like the air horn or whatever. It's cool.
Yay! Aboard the Scarlet Lady!
Thank you,
Your cabin's all ready for you!
Yeah.
Always
And once you walk on, you are on deck 7?
I don't know.
Deck 7 or deck
You're in a beautiful deck.
You're in a beautiful deck. And there's a DJ over here. He's spinning the tunes.
There's a bar to the left.
There's a bar. Like,
to the right.
You are already feeling like you're on vacation mode. And I love that about Virgin. Good.
No, I was just agreeing with
Oh, now here's another different thing that we experience.
It's a wonderful
thing is most of the time when people get on ships, the first thing they want to do is go to the room. Typically your room isn't ready, but people always try to go anyway. Or you're going up to what is known as Lido deck, or the deck where the buffet or the food is.
Virgin does not call it that.
Virgin does not call it that. So usually there's a fight for the elevators. I won't say a fight, but everyone's trying to get to an elevator.
There's a disrespect to getting on the
In general, yes.
It's like, oh, I've seen those people standing there for 15 minutes, but the door opened here, so I'm just going to go right up in.
So the thing that Virgin does differently on Embarkation is they have a staff member on the elevator who has let's just say a magic key. the key will take you directly to the floor that you want to go to. And the first time that we got on, we were confused because we've done plenty of other cruises where this is not a thing.
I just thought it was a crew member going to a floor
Right.
to do work or something.
And then I think your sister asked, it was like, is this the way the elevators work? Or is there always someone on here? And he was like, no, we just do this for embarkation to get you to the floor that you need to go to faster. And we was like,
it's amazing because it moves the people.
It does.
Because if you're going to deck 14, it's not stopping.
Right.
It's going to deck 14.
It just goes straight to deck 14.
Whereas on normal cruises,
well, we're going to stop on every floor.
And you're picking up people.
And people got their luggage.
Right.
Someone's in a wheelchair, like a scooter. There's a lot going on.
So, like,
Bravo to Virgin.
Bravo to Virgin Voyages.
We love
for
that.
It is a good, again, small, but makes a greater experience on Embarkation Day. Because Embarkation Day can be stressful.
It can be.
Especially if you're driving there or your flight was delayed. It's just, it's a lot. So, just that little peace of mind that I can just go to 14 without stopping on every floor is really, I applaud that.
Yes. So we went to our cabin.
Yes.
Got to the cabin, and shockingly, the bags were already there.
Bags were already there. Both trips.
Both trips, yeah.
Empty. Well, not empty, but not as full and full
full.
ship. And when I say full, Virgin holds about 2,700 people.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard it was like 24,000.
It was about actually
2,400. Sorry, not
25. Yeah, not 25,000. There would be.
It was almost at capacity the second time.
Yeah.
The first time it was like 1,000.
But still, like, having our bags already there, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all work fast.
Yeah. Never have experienced that on any of the other cruise lines. And we are like platinum on one of those cruise lines. So we technically have priority on our bags, but
so that's just what it is. So we got to the cabin, use this, and we'll show you that. To get into the room, once you enter your cabin, the curtains open for you.
It's like a spa.
It's an amazing experience.
Here we go. Scarlet lady. I can't open the door. Holy crap. Holy shit. Okay, yes, honey. Calming music. The shades open for you. Okay, this is luxury, bitch. All right. I haven't even been on this ship for longer than just an hour.
This is cool in here too.
I'm in love with this fucking ship. In love, free water. They believe in sustainability. No bottles, bitches. All right, look at this. Wow. Look at this. Look at this beautiful wood paneling. Hey. This is a closet. A little unconventional. The bathroom. Everybody likes the bathroom. Yes. All right, look at that. Rain shower head. Yes. Love it. Yes.
The cabins, we had a sea terrace.
Yes.
The central sea terrace both times?
No, it was not central.
Oh.
We were at the back of the ship.
Fine. We were at the back of the ship.
Let's clarify that for our new cruisers or old cruisers. And I don't mean that by age, I just mean you've cruised the cruise lines. Their sea terrace is considered what we would know as a balcony cabin on a traditional cruise line. So that's sea terrace.
Yes.
It's very fancy.
Sure.
Terrace.
The cabin was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I found it to be spacious enough. There was plenty of storage. The bed was nice. There was lots of room. For me, I feel like each room has a tablet which you use to control your lighting, curtains. You can use it to play music,
Movies, TV,
room service.
Everything's
Everything's handled on the tablet.
If you haven't noticed, Virgin is about technology. And I've seen some displeasure with that on YouTube and Facebook groups. And, you know, it's 2023. So technology is definitely here. And it's a way for Virgin to also reduce costs. And, like, instead of printing things out. providing every room with a bunch of controllers or whatever.
Right.
I mean, you control your air through the fucking. Oh no, do you do the air through that? There is something on the wall.
There is a thermostat on the wall. I don't know if you can do the air on the tablet.
Oh damn.
Could be. I don't remember.
I don't remember. You might be able to though.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, the cabin is great. Their closet is unique. It's very different. It's kind of like a little curtain, but I thought it was ample. Is that a word? Ample.
Mm-hmm.
Had ample space for two people that like to overpack.
Right choices.
I mean, we on the January cruise, it was 5 days, and we took 2 ginormous bags. So we do overpack. If you're a minimalist, then the closet's going to be outstanding for you.
I mean, even with overpacking, there was plenty of space to put
Yeah,
all our
I found we were able to take all our clothes out.
Yeah.
I really like the little baskets they have. I just dump your
socks or
socks
whatever.
for your under leisure wear.
Anyway, the bathroom was also very nice. I know some people say it's kind of small, but the thing that I enjoy about it is the shower. The shower is its own separate compartment. I love the way you can open the door inwards or outwards. They have a rain head shower, and they also have the wand that you can use, either one of those. There's spacious countertops. There's also little cubbies underneath to put things in. I thought it was good.
I mean, having been on so many cruises previous to this, I don't think the bathroom was any smaller or any bigger than other cruise lines. The toilet did feel a little tight, so if you're tall, well, I don't know. Did you experience any?
I was comfortable. I did not feel the toilet was constricted in any way, me being tall. Like, I didn't hit my legs on anything. It's fine.
It's a decent shower. I mean, you're not in there to, I mean, you may want to do recreational things there, but the shower itself is big enough for that. But the bathroom serves its purpose. There's ample space to put our stuff. Like, people have called the rooms minimalistic. I didn't feel that way. I thought it was I called it more of a upscale, but more contemporary vibe, which is less is more kind of feel to it.
I agree with that.
They have USB ports near the beds. I like the cabin. I really did like the cabin. And
I also like that they had light controls next to the bed. So,
Yes.
like, if you had already had a night of fun and you were like, I don't feel like getting up to turn these lights off, and the tablet is over there and
I don't wanna
you can't
get it.
reach it, you can reach right on over and turn the lights off.
Yeah.
Love that.
And I think so that's the inside of the cabin. You can turn the bed into a king, or you can separate the beds if you're going with a friend that's not a lover. So you can split the beds, or if you want to be friends with benefits, you can put them together.
All right.
I'm sorry, we should have put a disclaimer. We can sometimes get a little naughty in our podcast, so we're just bringing it to the video too.
But the room overall is nice.
That's a good flaw.
We've also seen their inside cabins. They don't have a ton of inside cabins. The ship is a lot of balcony.
Yeah, I forgot. I read somewhere in a fact, I want to say it's like 80 or more % sea terrace.
Yeah. Because when you look at the ship from the outside, you see a wall of balconies.
Yeah.
And
So-
speaking of which,
Yeah. No, I was gonna say there's minimal inside cabins. They have some ocean views, as they're called in other cruises. I think they call it something different.
they do, but I don't remember what it is.
Sea view or something. I don't know. So it's primarily sea terrace, so balconies. But the room is great. But I think one of the selling points that everybody loves is
The balcony.
the balcony.
Because, listen, I was a little skeptical about the hammock thing. Hammocks can be very tricky. They can be tricky to get in. They can be tricky to get out of. But let me tell you that on a sea day, or maybe not even a sea day, it doesn't matter. Sitting out there on that balcony in that hammock is such a zen experience. I love it.
Mhm.
I am 6'1", and I can get my tall ass all the way in this thing, stretched out. I can't rock too much because you might hit your head, but I do swing in it. If I'm just sitting in it, I can swing in it. But it is so comfortable, y'all. I mean, you can literally just fall asleep in this thing. And I had gotten close to taking a nap in it.
My sister has.
Yes. It is so
Multiple
comfortable.
times.
So I would encourage you, if you are going to try Virgin, to do a sea terrace. They have different categories and different options for them. But that hammock is everything.
Now there are some. We will put the disclaimer. There are some sea terraces that do not have the hammock. From what I've been able to decipher, it's cabins that are primarily towards the front, and they might be considered the limited view category. Do not quote me on that. Speak to Virgin Voyages directly, because I don't want you to be upset you don't have a hammock. But from what I've seen, they get this really nice, what is it, like the egg chairs. That's what they get instead of a hammock. And I think it's something because of the way the framing of the ship is towards the front, there's really no room for a hammock. But be mindful of that. So I think that's it on the cabins. One thing I did want to mention, when you book your Virgin voyage, unlike most cruise lines, you do not select your physical cabin number. You select whether you want to be in the center, a limited view, or I think the other one's like, essentially, I don't give a shit. But your cabin will be assigned to you. So there's no like looking at the ship map and trying to figure out your cabin. So I think that's important to know because that is important to some people. Obviously, if you want to be towards the middle of the ship, pick a central cabin. If you don't mind, book whatever. I believe you can call Sailor Services or you can chat with them. If you don't like your room, you can kind of move to another room or cabin that's within what you've purchased. Obviously, you're not going to purchase the limited view and then say, "Can I move to the middle?" Because they're going to tell you, "Well, you can pay for that." But just know that your cabin will not be something you can select. They will select it for you. We always just go back and look what's above us and what's below us, just in case. Because on our first voyage, Gun Bay, which is a restaurant that we'll talk about later, was directly above us. Thankfully, no noise like after 10. But if you're in your cabin with the TV off, when Gun Bay is open, you are going to hear Gun Bay.
I mean, it's just like any other ship. If you pick a room that's underneath the nightclub or...
Yeah, it's any cruise line.
Yeah, it's any cruise line. It's just...
Yeah. But it's important to know that. You can always get your room situated. And if you're traveling with other people and you want to be close...
you can do that too.
You can do that too. Or call or chat Virgin Voyages Sailor Services. And they can, I believe from what I've read, they can hook you up, which is within your category as close as possible.
Yeah. So we're going to move into service. I won't ship this video to be inclusive of all of the encounters that we had. We will talk a little bit about some things that we'll get to in other videos, but I just wanted to basically talk about service on the ship and our thoughts on it.
Yeah, you're kind of hitting this. Sorry. So on most cruise lines, it's called a cabin steward or a room service attendant or whatever. On Virgin Voyages, they are called your host or hostesses. These are the people that take care of your cabin, clean up your filth.
Clean up after you.
You know, y'all that don't clean for yourselves.
The ones with kids. Sorry.
There's no kids on board though.
Yes. We had an awesome hostess on our first voyage. She met us as we were about to leave.
No, we were coming into our... Oh yeah, we were leaving our cabin.
Yeah. Introduced herself, very friendly. We had asked for... Did we ask her for a steamer that first time?
We did ask for a steamer.
Yeah. Which is something that most cruise lines won't allow you to have, is a steamer.
Now, I'm going to put a little asterisk there.
Okay.
Because I have seen in posts that they have removed steamers. I can't confirm that.
Since our last voyage?
Yes. I can't confirm the truth or the validity of that. I've seen some people conversing on groups that they've removed them. I don't know if maybe you asked and they didn't have any more, and then you just said they removed them. So I can't confirm that. They obviously don't have enough steamers for every cabin on board this ship.
Right.
So if they're still offering them, definitely ask your host or hostess as soon as you see them. And then if you have sailed recently and you ask for one, they told you it's gone, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say that's factual without having a confirmed experience. I know people like to say what they want to say on social media, so I don't know. But she came in, she gave us a room tour, she explained how everything works, the tablet, the door thing.
Yeah, so most times on cruise lines, they will give you a placard to hang outside your door.
Like
for
hotels.
for like do not disturb if you're in there sleeping or whatever. Another thing, we know Virgin loves with technology, so right at your door on the wall, you will have two options. You will have one for do not disturb, which turns your little screen on the outside of your door red, and they know not to knock or come in or whatever.
They have a doorbell too.
Yes, they do.
So
you also have a doorbell.
The doorbell goes bye-bye.
And then the other one is if you need your room clean, it turns blue. And there are little icons on it, so you won't get the two mixed up. And it's just a signal for your host or hostess to know, whether you're in the room, whether you're out. I think it was a great idea.
Yeah, it probably helps them stay organized. And no need for the card or people taking the card off your door.
Yes.
I think it was a great idea that they did that.
Yeah, and on the first voyage, it was his birthday cruise. So she gave you a little magnet birthday thing to put on the door. I thought that was a nice touch. Our second cruise, we also had an awesome voyage. Sorry. We also had an awesome hostess. She was on it. She cleaned the room very nicely. She was very nice. Whenever she saw us in the hallway, she would speak. Never had an issue with any of our hostesses.
She reminded us, we moved our loyalty from Carnival to Virgin. They allowed us to do that. We got free laundry, and she came down as we were leaving. She's like, Manny, Sean, don't forget, you got to put your laundry if you want it covered.
Because we made that mistake the first cruise and weren't able to get the laundry done because we tried to do it the day before the last day, which they consider express and you would have to pay for it. So it's just little things like that to clue you in on the way that things work so you don't miss out on things. I appreciate it. Yeah. Next, I will talk about just like wait staff. Most cruises, like Carnival, Royal, there's someone always walking around. You want a drink? That doesn't really happen on Virgin. There is wait staff around. If you want something, you simply raise your hand, or if they see you, you just ask, and they will bring you whatever it is that you want. It is not pushy whatsoever. It is very cool, calm, and collective. Same thing for wait staff in the restaurants, the galley, which is kind of like the buffet. It's not a buffet. Everyone is just so present. Everyone is just so happy. Everyone is eager to help you. And it's all about, for me, I feel like it's all about the vibe. And Virgin is a big vibe.
Yeah. Like when people ask, how was it? I'm like, I can't explain it. Because it is a vibe. It is a different vibe.
Yes.
And even when somebody did come by to ask drinks, they didn't feel pushy about it. I don't know if this was our experience. May have not been yours. They would put a napkin down. And I don't know if that was like to indicate to other bar servers in the area that, they've already been talked to. Leave them alone. At least that's what I got from that. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just, after 3 or 4 people ask me if I want to drink, I'm going to start getting annoyed.
Right.
Which tends to happen on other cruise lines. So I thought that was a nice just service. Again, another minor service thing that just makes the experience that much better. Because if I wanted to drink, I would ask you for a drink.
Yes.
So I don't need you to come back to buy me every 4 or 5 times. So I appreciated that small gesture, I guess they do.
That's don't think so. Another thing is engagement. So we had seen plenty of videos and read things about Virgin, and there were some people that were like, the crew wasn't engaging with them, or they felt like they couldn't be bothered with them. We didn't have that experience at all. Exactly, we had the exact opposite of that experience, and I think that just goes into you as a person. If you interact with them, they're more than likely going to interact with you, because the thing that we learned about Virgin after talking to a lot of crew is that Virgin treats them like adults. A lot of cruise lines, people can't have their phones out. They can't wear a certain thing.
No tattoos.
No tattoos,
no
no
piercings.
no piercings. And there's usually always a supervisor or a manager around. And if they see them not doing something, they're ordering them to do things. That didn't happen on Virgin. When we talked to someone that was considered, I guess, entertainment, he said that basically they treat them like the adults they are. They are allowed to have their phones. They are allowed to use their phones. They are allowed to eat where the guests eat, which is a big no-no on other cruise lines.
Unless you're like top tier.
Unless you're like an officer or
high
something.
entertainment.
Yeah. Even our room hostess told us, like, even in the crew mess, the officers, the captain, everyone eats together. No one is separated.
There's no silos.
There's a hierarchy, and you do respect the chain of command. But when it comes to just being together, everyone is treated the same.
Yeah, and I think the interaction piece goes back to it's adult only, right? So they expect you to be an adult, and if you want to be engaging, then they leave it to you to be engaging with people. If you're there to just have a relaxing time, don't want to be bothered, then that's what they're going to take from you not being engaging with them.
Yes.
And I think people take that as a misconception that the crew is just not engaging at times. And I just really think it's more like we're adults. If you want to engage, you engage. If you want to stand off and enjoy the vibe, then you stand off and enjoy the vibe. They're not going to walk by you and not say hi to you, but they may not engage in a full dialogue like we had experiences with some other crew because we engaged with them.
Yes.
So I think it's more so that it's adult-centric. So they're treating you as an adult. This is your vacation. You're going to make what you want of it. It's not to say the crew is not nice. I haven't experienced a nicer crew in I don't even know how many cruises we've taken now. I want to say we're in the 20s. I have never experienced a nicer crew in all my cruises that I've been on.
Everyone is so friendly. Everyone is so willing to engage with you for the most part. There were some crew in some parts of the ship, the wake, for instance. But still, even though they might not have been as engaging, they were still very nice.
Mm-hmm.
They
Respectful.
gave great service. I think it was just that they were going on break.
Yeah, they were doing a shift change.
Yeah.
Because our server changed in the middle.
Yeah.
I think he's like, y'all sat me and I'm about to get this break. And I would actually be the same if that was me. I'm like, I'm about to go on my break. Why are you sitting people down?
But like the experience that we had in Razzle Dazzle, which is a restaurant, we got to know multiple servers. Even the people that just come around and do your water, we got to know. And like people would ask where we're from, and we would ask where they were from, and like just engaging with people and having conversations with people, it made that experience on the voyage even that much better to me.
Yeah. It wasn't just surface level conversations. Like,
yeah.
I forgot her name. She was from Brazil, and my sister's husband is from Peru. And they were just having a good conversation. She had been to Peru, and it was just great. Haven't experienced that on other cruise lines. So it's beyond surface level conversations.
And the great thing about that is, so we went in January and then we went back in March. When we went back in March, there were still crew members on there that we had engaged with in January. And a lot of them looked at us and was like, y'all look familiar.
They were like trying to process.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we had done like 50 voyages
Right.
from January to March.
Which, I mean, was amazing that they kind of remembered our faces.
Right.
And then when we talked to them and they remembered our names or whatever, they was like, yeah. That was cool.
One of them remembered that my sister loves bacon.
Yes.
And he's like, bacon, you love bacon.
So that also just made the engagement part even that much better, because these people see, I don't know how many people a week, in a month, and here we come 2 months later, and that engagement is still there.
Right. So yeah, it's something to be said about that. And I assume it's that Virgin allows them to be adults.
Yes.
And I feel when you don't micromanage, I'm not going into business talk here, but when you don't micromanage your people, they're going to tend to output better service and be more engaging with their people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where Virgin has a niche in how they train and develop their crew.
So this concludes the first part of Ship Things. We had so much to say, we had to do another video. Be sure to click the notification bell, ding ding, and subscribe to be notified when the second video drops. Give us a like, leave a comment, or question you might have about Virgin Voyages down below. We hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next part.